Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News.
Good afternoon from WKYT. As the news continues, Bill Bryant and Barbara Bailey reporting.
We're continuing to track down new information about an overpass collapse.
The Hopple Street overpass fell right onto Interstate 75 in Cincinnati around 10:30 last night. That accident killed a construction worker from Kentucky and injured a truck driver. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk with the new information coming in for our top story at 12:30. Mark?
Good afternoon, Bill and Barbara. I've learned from officials that Brandon Carl, the construction worker who was trapped under tons of concrete when the overpass collapsed, was from Bracken County. Crews say it took hours to dig his body out of the rubble that crashed down onto the southbound lanes of I-75 late last night. That's when city leaders say construction crews were working to take down the Hopple Street overpass. That's in the Camp Washington neighborhood just north of downtown Cincinnati. We're told something went terribly wrong around 10:30 and the overpass collapsed, sending hundreds of tons of metal, machinery and concrete crashing down onto the interstate. The police chief says, amazingly, a tractor-trailer driver who was driving under the overpass when rubble started falling wasn't seriously hurt.
It's a tragedy. You know, we have a piece of heavy equipment and a bridge collapse, and we do have one deceased. So we're going to be dealing with that and making the appropriate notifications, as well as trying to do the best we can to get the freeway open within an expeditious time frame.
This afternoon, investigators are still trying to figure out what caused the collapse. As their investigation and the cleanup continues, traffic is backing up on the roads that are now closed around the overpass. Those roads are expected to remain closed for days. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Yeah, Mark, thank you. Quite a mess up there. City leaders are expected to speak at a news conference this hour.
We have new information just into the newsroom about a violent home invasion in Lexington this morning. It happened just after 9 at a home on Old Paris Road. Police just told us 3 men with guns forced their way into the home, tied up 2 women, and put them in a bathroom. Investigators say the men got away with cash from a business that's run out of the home. Police say the women were eventually able to free themselves and call 911. Now, we've learned a child was in the home at the time of the incident but was not injured. The mother of a Grayson County teen whose disappearance attracted national attention is in jail this afternoon. Grayson County deputies arrested Sherry Peters on a custodial interference charge yesterday. Peters' daughter, 13-year-old Cheyenne Phillips, and 18-year-old Dalton Hayes were caught Saturday in Florida. Police say they went on a crime spree while on the run. Peters hasn't had custody of Phillips in years. Today, Hayes told a Florida newspaper they ran to escape Phillips' abusive family. Officials say the allegations will be discussed when the teens return to Kentucky.
A woman lost her home and everything in it in an early morning fire today. The fire started around 9 a.m. on Perrigsbury Road near Broadhead in Rockcastle County. The homeowner and her friend were able to escape, but she tells us she is not sure what she's going to do next.
You know, when you have something bad that happens, the only thing you want to do is go home, and now I don't have no home. All I wanted was to be able to have something for my girls.
Firefighters don't know right now what caused that fire. They say it does not appear, though, to be suspicious. Investigators pulled a body from the scene of another house fire yesterday. The Lewis County Herald says investigators found the fire early Monday morning near the old Mud Valley Raceway there. The brother of the man who lived in the home lives nearby. Police say he was the first to notice the fire. The victim has not been positively identified. The paper reports police do not suspect foul play. President Obama will deliver his State of the Union address tonight at 9 o'clock.
Now, it's the first big chance for the president to frame the debate for the 114th Congress. Jacqueline Policastro shows us what to expect from the speech.
It's President Obama's first State of the Union address to a Capitol full of Republicans. And before he's even uttered a word, his speech is already being met by Republican criticism. We'll have to wait to see what the president's tone is like when he delivers the speech. But we already have a preview of what's inside.
Middle-class economics. That's what White House advisors are calling the theme of President Obama's 7th State of the Union address.
It is you, our citizens, who make the state of our union strong.
The president's speech might sound familiar tonight because Obama went on a campaign to sell the speech to the American public leading up to his address. First to Detroit, where the president said the auto industry has proved that any comeback is possible.
I like my ride these days, and it was made in Michigan too.
Then to Phoenix, where he explained how he plans to make home ownership more affordable for more Americans.
Starting this month, the Federal Housing Authority will lower its mortgage insurance premium rates.
And off to Knoxville, where the president talked about creating free access to community colleges.
I hope that Congress will come together to support it.
One of the hot spots inside the speech, a package of new tax cuts and credits for the middle class, paid for by raising taxes on the wealthy and raising fees on big banks. Republicans are already against the plan.
The president never got serious about doing the kind of reforms that would put America's fiscal health in proper shape.
This is not just another speech. The White House is using Facebook, Twitter, and whitehouse.gov to get support from people all across the country.
So the president will lay out his legislative wish list, but most of his proposals will have little chance of becoming law. They might be popular with the American public, though, and that means if Democrats pick up on the president's proposals, you'll probably hear them again on the campaign trail in 2016. Reporting inside the Capitol, I'm Jacqueline Policastro.
And you can see the State of the Union address right here on WKYT. Again, it's at 9 o'clock. The Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors says its members sold more than 10,000 homes in 2014. The sales totaled $1.8 billion. 2014 saw a small increase in sales, with 50 more homes sold than in 2013. Elbar says the outlook for sales in 2015 is bright as well.
The opening date has been set for a new Lexington restaurant. The Cheesy Mac will hold its grand opening on February 4th. The restaurant is located in front of the Kroger on Richmond Road. As the name suggests, the restaurant features gourmet mac and cheese. Micah heard that one. All right, enjoy the lower gasoline prices while they last. That's the word. The former president of Shell Oil says gasoline prices could shoot up to $5 a gallon later this decade. That's if production slows and demand continues to rise. Today, gasoline prices are averaging $2.05 a gallon. Remember, you can always find the cheapest gas prices in your area. Click on WKYT.com for that list. Well, a new study says moderate alcohol use could benefit middle-aged drinkers.
And why walking outside could help prevent heart disease and depression. Brian Webb has details in this Better Living report.
New research in Boston suggests moderate alcohol consumption is linked to a lower risk of heart failure. Scientists from Harvard and Brigham and Women's Hospital studied nearly 15,000 middle-aged men and women for more than 20 years. They found up to 7 drinks per week lowered the risk of heart failure by 20% in men and 16% in women. Americans may finally be coming to grips with the obesity epidemic. Nielsen surveyed 30,000 people worldwide and found 60% of Americans know they are overweight. That's the highest percentage of any population. 49% of Americans surveyed planned to start a diet after the holidays. Walking outside in groups can help prevent heart disease, depression, and other life-threatening conditions. That's according to researchers at the University of Anglia in Great Britain. They found that people who walk in groups have lower blood pressure, a more positive attitude toward physical activity, and feel less lonely. Doctors say taking regular walks can also be a catalyst for adopting other healthy behaviors. That's a look at some of the day's top health stories. Brian Webb for CBS News, New York.
And there's much more to come on WKYT News at 12:30.
The mother of a childhood cancer survivor, Paxton Bloyd, is teaming up with a Kentucky state senator to help bring funding to pediatric cancer research. Find out how you can help that cause coming up.
Also, the Kentucky Conservatory Theater has some exciting performances coming up. Details about Winterfest.
A lot of sunshine, temperatures well above average once again today, but this is your last day. Enjoy it while it lasts. Is there a big blast of cold air coming on in? I'll show you that in your forecast coming up next.